Okay, so I'm continuing to look at asthma within our environmental indicators data set for the East Bay. And now what I want to talk about doing is how do you actually compare the asthma rate in one zip code to another? And so specifically, I'm interested in comparing two different neighborhoods, West Oakland, which I've been looking at, and North Oakland. And so I have the same displays up that we saw in the previous video. Here we have the data distribution of asthma. Again, each point represents one zip code within the Bay Area. Here we have the map. And again, we see this gradient with the lighter colors representing the areas with the lowest asthma rates and the dark orange areas representing the highest asthma rates. And then again, as a reference, I have just my map of the different neighborhoods in Oakland. I want to just backtrack for a second to something we talked about in the last video, which is hovering. And so if I find West Oakland on the map and I hover there, I realize I think I actually need to click for it to hover and actually get, there we go. So I see that in West Oakland, we have an asthma rate of 157. Now just look at how I can use hovering to just notice how the asthma rate changes. Now, these are both the dark orange area. So they're both in the highest 20% of asthma rate. So they're both in the same category, but we can see that the asthma rate actually goes down a little bit the further you get from West Oakland. So here it goes down to 139, down from 160. You go one neighborhood over, one zip code over, the asthma rate goes down to 105. And then you get to North Oakland and the asthma rate goes way down to 29 per 10,000. So now I'm going to use Hotlinking and I'm going to actually select two different neighborhoods to compare them. And the important thing to know is that to hotlink you actually have to hold down your shift key. So I'm going to select North Oakland and then I'm going to select West Oakland holding down the shift key, and it's actually going to select both of those at the same time. And what you can see is that those same 2 points show up on the map. And so not only can I compare the numbers, here I see West Oakland again having an asthma rate 157.9, close to 160. And here's North Oakland with an asthma rate of 29.1, close to 30. But I can actually see that North Oakland hovers towards the middle, but it's actually on the left-hand side of the distribution. So it's actually lower than average. Whereas in West Oakland, it's far on the right-hand side of the distribution. And so we see that the asthma rate is far higher in West Oakland than the average. Now, if I want to actually see where the average lies, I can click on the ruler, click on mean, and there we have the midpoint, the average. The average is 48.9, again hovering. We can see that the average is just about an asthma rate of 50. And so again, we see North Oakland having a lower than average rate, West Oakland having a higher rate. So that's comparison. That's how you can do comparisons in CODAP.